Hey guys, how's it going? So today I am going to take you through a little bit of Gadgetzan. Now the reason why I am going to take you through the settlement called Gadgetzan is because on the 4th of November there will be an announcement of the next Hearthstone expansion. Now I already notified you guys kind of about this in the comments of one of my previous constructed videos that I uploaded. I just basically said in the comments that on the 4th of November, which is going to be BlizzCon, there is going to be a new Hearthstone expansion announced. And I said that almost a week ago, but I really haven't gotten around to getting all of the video footage and all of that stuff that I need together until now. So this little place that I am showing you right now is the Goblin settlement of Gadgetzan. Now it is kind of a goblin slash gnome type settlement, but there's way more goblins than there are gnomes. And you will see that in this video. There are way more goblins in this town than there are gnomes, so I would expect, at least if the developers stay within the lore constraints that it is in World of Warcraft, then there will be more, this expansion will be more of a goblin centered expansion with goblin cards instead of gnome cards. There might be a few gnome cards, but really not a whole lot. It will be, the vast majority should be goblin. But basically this entire expansion, and by the way, it is going to be an expansion, not an adventure. So it won't be like Blackrock Mountain and Karzhan and League of Explorers, which are adventures. This will be a expansion, so it will be like Goblins versus Gnomes and the Grand Tournament and Whispers of the Old Gods. Those are expansions where you can actually buy card packs. So you can certainly expect way more goblin cards than gnome cards. And of course the traditional goblin cards are stuff like the piloted shredders, because goblins like shredders, and mech suits and all of that, and you will see a lot of it in this video. So to give you a little bit of a background about Gadgetzan, Gadgetzan is a small little settlement. It is really quite small inside the zone in World of Warcraft which is called Tanaris. So it is inside the desert, and Tanaris is a desert zone. There's really not a whole lot going on inside this zone, except for the Caverns of Time, which is another bunch of instances, and then this settlement, which is of course Gadgetzan. Basically, as I show you around the town, you will see there's not a whole lot going on. There's a few goblins here and there that can give you quests and stuff like that, and there's a few shredders standing around, but other than that, the only other thing in town which really is the big selling point of Gadgetzan is the Gadgetzan Arena. Now this arena, I think, will be a very big selling point in the Gadgetzan expansion, because you can really get a lot of lore out of it. Although there are only basically 4 bosses in the Gadgetzan arena, I think that Blizzard will invent a lot more lore and a lot more bosses for the arena. So they will basically invent a whole lot more mechs, because there will probably be a lot of mechs, and that way they can create a lot more cards. But in this video I'm going to show you all of the arena battles that you can do in the Gadgetzan arena. Now, before I do that, basically all that I can say is that in my opinion the Gadgetzan expansion will have a lot of goblins, it will have a little bit of gnomes, not a whole lot. There will be a lot of shredders, there will be a lot of mechs. Certainly I think this expansion will make the mech class, you could say, much more powerful. There will be a lot more mech synergy with the introduction of a lot of new mech cards, because goblins love constructing weird and fanciful mechs, and you will certainly see that in the one fight in the Gadgetzan arena where you actually fight a mech. And otherwise than that, there's not a whole lot that I can think about that will be put into the expansion. I mean, there's a few Gadgetzan bruisers in Gadgetzan, which are the guards, and then there's a whole lot of engineering type goblins, which are basically like the tinkerers of the town. And other than that, the only thing that the Blizzard guys can do is bring in some lore and some creatures from the surrounding area around Gadgetzan. Now, they may or might not do this because the surrounding area is considered Tanaris, it's not considered Gadgetzan anymore. So I don't really know if they will do this, but otherwise than that, if you go over to the next zone, there used to be a racing course, although it's not in the game anymore. It was removed a couple of years ago, like I would almost say it was removed 5 or so years ago out of World of Warcraft, but luckily for you guys, I still have footage of the zone that was removed, so that I can show you guys exactly what went on in that zone. But basically it is just a few thousand yards away from the Gadgetzan settlement, and it is basically just a racing course. There's a whole lot of gnomes and a couple of goblins standing around, and every hour or every 2 hours there would be a race, and that basically just involved the NPCs in the game racing around the race course on their own wild and wacky creations. And these things are very much like in the Star Wars Episode 1, where they had the races. Basically these things have massive rocket boosters strapped to them, and they just look really wild and wacky. So you can certainly expect those types of racers and weird and wacky cars type things inside the Gadgetzan expansion, but of course that is only if the devs decide to borrow some of the lore from the surrounding areas, which I don't think they will do, but they might do that, since this place still really has the essence of Gadgetzan, in that it is still a goblin and gnome settlement, and it still very much holds to the theme that Gadgetzan has. But that really is just all speculation, except for the Gadgetzan part. Of course, the rest is speculation, so they may or may not do that. So now I am going to show you guys the Gadgetzan arena. There are 3 fights, 3 standard fights which you can do in the Gadgetzan arena. They go over quite quickly because they are not bosses, they are just normal minions, you could say, inside the game. So it's not like a long fight, and especially because my character is way too powerful for this zone, I unfortunately kill all of the bosses in one hit, but you can still see all of the dialogue which they say, and the look, like how the characters look, so that you can at least get a reference for how they look in World of Warcraft. Then you will probably know how they are going to look in Hearthstone. So yeah, there are 3 standard fights in the arena, and then there's a 4th fight which you can unlock after doing a bunch of very long quests in a quite long quest line. And luckily for you guys, I have done that entire quest line for the purposes of this video. It took me a couple of hours, but it basically, at the end, you guys will see that it brings the leader of the Goblin engineers against the leader of the Gnome engineers, and they battle it out inside the arena. So it really is quite a worthwhile little piece of lore for you guys to see. So this guy right here, Dr. Dealwell, is the fight promoter. He's the guy who you talk to in order to get into a fight in the arena. And because basically the entire WoW, or at least they started changing it recently, they started putting in voice acting recently, but basically the whole rest of WoW is basically just text. So you have to read just about everything. So I will read it for you guys.
Yo! What's up? Time is money, friend!
So Dr. Dealwell says, "This is the truth of it. Fighting leads to killing, and killing leads to warring. And that was nearly the end of all of our customers. Now, when men get to fighting, it happens here. And it finishes here, for maximum viewing potential." So the first guy that you get to fight in the arena is the Ginormous. So the rules are simple. 2 men enter, 1 wait. Sometimes there's a woman. 2 people enter, 1 wait. No, sometimes it's more than 2. And that means more than 2 come out. Alright, only rule is stay in the drone. There are no other rules. You're up against the biggest, baddest member of the Wastelanders Bandits first. This'll either be a warm-up or a bloodbath. It's up to you which.
Glad I could help!
And then you enter the arena. And once you've entered the arena, the guy screams, "Any ladies and gentlemen present should leave now, for only real men and women will be able to handle the gory spectacle about to unfold." Introducing the first fighter, the warrior of the wasteland, the Ayatollah of Kazakola, the Ginormous. And then of course the guy enters the arena. So this is very much a Mad Max type reference, because you can see the guy even looks like the dude from the Mad Max movies. And when you start the fight, he says, "There has been too much violence, too much pain, but I have an honorable compromise. Just walk away." And of course, we are not going to walk away, we are just going to kill him in 1 hit. And then Dr. Dealwell screams, "The Ginormous has fallen. Plank looks like he's ready for more." And then when you turn in your quest, you talk to Katrina Turner, and she says, "An impressive start, be prepared for more." Now there's a little bit of fan fiction, you could say, behind Katrina Turner, because the rumors are that Katrina Turner is the biggest champion, but you never get to fight her in the game. Because you will see at the very end, she says that maybe eventually you and I will fight, because she basically hints to the fact that she is the champion. But still, after more than 10 years of this Gadgetzan arena being in the game, they still have not brought a conclusion to the Katrina Turner lore, you could say. So basically she challenges you, but after 10 years, Blizzard still haven't completed her lore, you could say. But yeah, like I said, rumors are that she is in fact the champion of the arena. So then we hand in the quest and we go talk to Dr. Dealwell again. And this time he says, "Splendidly done, but you'll be fighting more than mere humans. Your next opponent is a mean one. Watch out for his right hook and his left. I'd be wary of his fists in general." And the opponent's name is Zumonga. So then once again you enter the arena and Dr. Dealwell screams, "Our next fighter was found in the deepest tombs of Zul'Farrak." And just by the way, so that you guys know, Zul'Farrak is another instance in World of Warcraft. I have speculated, and a lot of people have speculated, that eventually a Zul'Farrak instance or a Zul'Farrak kind of a themed expansion or adventure will be put into Hearthstone, but they still haven't done that. But basically Zul'Farrak is filled with trolls and stuff like that. So our next fighter was found in the deepest, darkest tombs of Zul'Farrak, gorged on cursed blood, raised from death countless times. He now only knows fury and violence. There you face the mindless wrath of Zumonga, and then Zumonga enters the arena. Now Zumonga is basically exactly what the Gurubashi Berserker is. He is exactly the same type dude as the Gurubashi Berserker, but obviously this guy is quote unquote special. So then he starts whacking away at you, and we just kill him in one hit. And then we turn in the quest again, and Katrina Turner says, "Not bad, you've got a ways to go, however."
Have a good one.
And then we talk to Dr. Dealwell again. This time our opponent is Sarinex, and he says, "I hope you're ready for the next one, Blank. One mistake could mean instant painful death. But that's what the people pay to see, isn't it? I hope you're not afraid of bugs." And then we enter the arena again. And then Dr. Dealwell screams, "The faint of heart may wish to shield their eyes. Being brought into the ring now is a horror captured from the darkest tunnels of Centipar Hive. I give you the skittering death, Sarinex." And Sarinex is a big Silithid. So then Sarinex tries its best to give us the 1-2 punch, but then we just kill it in one hit. And then Katrina says, "Rather impressive. Few can bear to see a Silithid Reaver face to face, let alone defeat it." And then after that, the fights are basically over. If you go to Dr. Dealwell, he has no more fights to give you. So those are the only 3 fights that you get. But fortunately after that, I went and completed a very long quest line, and after that, with a whole bunch of stuff happening in between, which is really too long to explain. It's basically just a rivalry between the goblins in the town and the gnomes in the town. More specifically, the goblin engineers and the gnome engineers in the town. So then, in the 4th fight which you have unlocked, you then get to see the Goblin Engineer leader going against the Gnome Engineer leader, and both of these are females. So when we speak to Dr. Dealwell after the quest line, we can then get the 4th special fight unlocked, and he then says, It seems we have a special request. I have here a note from one Mechs Death Shredder. Now that is the main goblin engineering leader in the town. Requesting to enter the cage and settle a dispute. She's asked for you to be her partner, blank. A fan of your previous victories, perhaps? Or perhaps you're acquainted outside the ring. I wouldn't back down now if I were you. This is the grand finale. So they don't really tell you anything about the fight. You then basically just accept the fight. And once you're in the fight, you see that you are going to help fight against Keely Steelspark, who is the Gnome engineering leader. And of course, no fight would be a good fight without a massively outdrawn monologue before it. So this is what they say. Meg's Death Shredder says, "You've gotten in my way one too many times, Gnome." And then Keely says, "You have fully depleted my patience as well." And you can already deduce from that voice line that Keely is actually a very mild-mannered and nice gnome. And then Mechs says, "There isn't room in this town for both of us. I will attempt to not take undue pleasure in utterly destroying you." And then Mechs says, "Bring it, Pipsqueak." And then they start battling it out between each other. Now, if you are Alliance, then you will kill Mechs. But if you are Horde, then you have to kill Keely. And when you are killing Keely, she spawns a special mech. And when killing Mechs, she spawns a special shredder. So we hit Keely, and that then spawns her mech. Now, the mech's name according to her is the Alloy Pounder 0, but the mech's actual name is the Steelspark LX506. So, Keely says, "I was going to fight you fair and square, but you decided to bring friends. Fine, behold the Alloy Pounder 0. So the Alloy Pounder 0 then comes out and he basically bashes your skull in. Now of course this whole quest and this whole zone is made for level 45 people, but I am level 100, so these guys do absolutely no damage to me. But at least you can see how the mech looks. And then once the fight is over, Meg's Death Shredder says, "You gave it a good shot, kid, but this is Goblin turf now. I suggest you get used to it." And then she says, "Ciao babe, let me know if you'd like to do lunch sometime. We'll work something out now that you've learned some manners." And then Dr. Dealwell screams, "And that's it folks, this conflict has been settled the proper way, with violence. Let's hear it for our contestants." And then when you go talk to Katrina Turner again, she says, "Fantastic, I might challenge you to a deal myself someday." And of course she said that basically 10 years, more than 10 years ago when this arena was introduced, and still after 10 years Blizzard hasn't brought a conclusion to that. But yeah, basically this is what the entire town is. It's really, like I said at the beginning, quite a small little town. Inside the Tanaris zone, inside the middle of nowhere basically. And the biggest attraction to this place is the arena, so I really think that the Gadgetzan expansion, which will be announced on the 4th of November, is going to be a lot of basically arena themed cards. Like, you will obviously probably see those bosses that I showed you guys inside the arena, but you will probably also see a lot of other invented, I could almost say, cards and characters which aren't in this game, since there are simply too little things in Gadgetzan to work with. I mean, The entire population of Gadgetzan is maybe like 40 different gnomes and goblins, but of course the expansion in Hearthstone is going to have around about 130, maybe 140 different new cards. So Blizzard are really going to have to stretch the lore, I could say, when it comes to the creating of new cards. But like I said, they will probably all be themed around goblins or gnomes or mechs. There will certainly be a lot of mechs. So yeah guys, I hope you guys have at least enjoyed this little look into the Gadgetzan zone. I certainly look forward to the new expansion Gadgetzan coming sometime, probably by the end of November. So yeah guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.